Hi everyone, and welcome to our Cupboard Manager webinar for the 2017 cookie program. If you all could just raise your hands or type into the chat box if you can hear me, then I'll know that we're all ready to get started. Excellent. Okay, so it seems like a couple people can hear me, so I'm assuming that we are all set to begin. Thank you very much for that. My name is Allison Mangles. I'm the Senior Product Sales Manager here at Girl Scouts of Connecticut, and I know some of my other teammates are listening to the call as well. And Anand Haku, who is the Director of Product Sales, is going to be helping out answering questions or bringing anything to my attention that people have multiple questions if we need to dive a little bit deeper on the webinar. We are going to go through a couple of things today, and I know we have some experienced cupboard managers on the webinar and also some brand new cupboard managers, but welcome to all. We are going to go over some paperwork, some issues, some new points for this year. You know, we're always trying to do some new things, and 2017 has lots of exciting stuff, of course. We're going to talk just a minute about cookie delivery, and then I'm going to go through some entries in EBuddy. For those who have done this before, the EBuddy entries are really not too different than what you've been doing the last couple of years, but always good to get a refresher right before you start having to move all those cookies around for your troops. The paperwork for everybody, the vast majority of you guys should actually have received your paperwork already. The very last of it went out in the mail this morning. So if you don't have your paperwork just yet, please know that it's on your way. If you don't have it by the end of the week, please let your product sales manager know so that we can look into that. But most people should have it. If you've got your paperwork and you want to take it out now, that's great. I am going to show you guys what most of it looks like. So if you don't have it, that's okay too. You'll still know what I'm talking about. So before I jump into all of that, I just want to say thank you not only for being on the webinar tonight, but also for volunteering to manage a cupboard, either for your service unit or for our council. We know that it is definitely a commitment, but also a very important part of what makes the cookie program work so well here in Connecticut. So we very much thank you for offering up your time and your home and your energy to making that work for all of your troops and for the girls too. So just a couple notes on paperwork. I'm going to go through some of the forms here. You will be receiving copies of these in the mail, like I said. If you need additional copies of anything, we will send these out electronically for you, and you can print them, or you can just let us know. We'll definitely have copies at the service centers, or just let us know if you need to pick them up from a council cupboard, or if we need to mail some more out to you, and we'll definitely try to get that together for you. The two things that I don't have pictures of at the moment are two items that we use for Cookies for Heroes. So most of you will recognize the Cookies for Heroes flyer and also the Cookies for Heroes box wraps. I know that those were a hot commodity at cupboards last year, so we definitely have those available for you guys to give out to your troops. So all of our troops did receive a Cookies for Heroes flyer with their original cookie program paperwork back in November or December when they went to training, but if they need more, we have those for you. And we also, like I said, have the box wraps, and those can be cut out and fit around a Thin Mint box. So just a nice way to market, to encourage the girls to market the Cookies for Heroes program when they're out at their booth sales. The other thing related to booth sales that you'll have in your mailing are some recruitment flyers. So we know that lots of times people come up to the cookie booth and they're very excited to see Girl Scouts. If they're there with young children or with school-age girls or things like that, they sometimes are interested in learning more about Girl Scouting, which is great. But I know that you guys don't, always have the time. You're moving cookies around, you're collecting money, making change, and all of that. So we do have some flyers that we're giving to you guys that we're hoping that your troops will take out to their booth sale. So if people are interested in getting some more information about Girl Scouting, they can pick up their cookies, pick up their flyer, and be on their way, and hopefully maybe we'll have some cookie sellers for next year from that. So we appreciate your help in getting the word out and getting those flyers out to our troops as well. So a couple of things that will look familiar to you guys who have done this before are our booth consignment forms. We're going to talk about inventory and things like that in a minute, but we do have some paperwork just to make sure that our cookies are accounted for, that they're going out, being counted, coming back in, being counted, and that you're working with the troop volunteers to make sure that everybody is all set with what they're getting. So the first form that's here is actually for our booth sales, and this is a large form that you'll use, and you'll keep this on record. There's a small form that goes with this that your troop volunteers who are picking up the cookies will keep, but this is a good form because it will record the information about the booth sale, as far as the date, the manager, where it is. It's good to track this information from year to year so that people can look back and say, oh yeah, we had that booth at Stop and Shop, and it did really well these weekends, but maybe they don't need quite as many cookies this following weekend. It's just a nice way to track for the future, but also right now to help you calculate what boxes the troop takes out and then what cases are returned. Just like last year, you can give out both full cases and loose boxes, individual boxes, to troops, but only cases of cookies that were taken out on consignment can be returned, and those cookies must be full cases, and in good condition. So when we go through the EBuddy entries in a little bit, this will make a little bit more sense to you, but we just wanted to highlight here one of the forms that's really helpful in keeping your inventory set. The one that pairs with this is the half sheet. So this large sheet that we're looking at right now is for you, and this is the troop's copy. This is a full sheet, but your guys are cut in half there. The troop will take this. It's a good reminder for when they're going to return their cookies to you. So these are only used on the booth sales. Like I said, cookies can be taken out on consignment. So if someone's having a booth sale, maybe they pick up on Friday and then your cupboard is open again on Monday. So they would be able to write their date down there. Those cookies are taken on consignment. You are going to assign them to the troop, but again, they can bring back any cases that are full and in good condition. So this is just a nice record. The troop volunteer can fill this out before she comes to the cupboard, or can fill it out with you, just to make sure that everybody has a record. I'm going to show you in a bit how to enter all this into EBuddy, but it's nice to have, as a cupboard manager myself for 2 of the council cupboards, I like to keep my full sheets on record, and when I go back with my tickets and in EBuddy, I like to make sure everything in there is matching, and it's just a very good visual for me. The other item that you guys will have are actual either receipt booklets if you're a service unit cupboard, or QB tickets if you are a council cupboard. And those of you who have your paperwork, you'll see that you either have one or the other in there. That's where we actually have the signature. So you're going to sign as a cupboard manager, and the troop volunteer signs every time they pick up or return boxes or cases of cookies. So again, that's a good record to have, and also good to balance your EBuddy entries against those tickets. Again, once we get into EBuddy, we can talk a little bit more about that as well. One of the sheets that I'd like to show you guys, and a bunch of you have already been asking me for this, so I know that we're patiently waiting, is the breakdown or the consignment guidelines that we offer up for the cupboard. So especially you guys who have been doing this for a little bit, your service unit or your area of the council probably better even than we do. So you might know, how many cases to go out for a certain point in the sale or a certain place in the sale. If you don't have that information, in the back of your mind, that's okay. We've developed this list. Again, you'll see the top here. This is the booth consignment guideline sheet. So you'll see these recommendations sort of listed at the bottom here to give you a general idea of what cookies would go out for a booth sale. The things to think about here are just a couple items. One, especially early on in the sale, you may have troops who have their roundup boxes. So those extra boxes that they picked up that they're going to use for goal-getters, or if they ordered some of their booth cases on their initial order, some troops will have some cookies available. So they may not need all of what we're offering here, but as they sort of move into the sale, when their stock of either extras or their initial order boxes have sort of been diminished, that's when you might be looking for some additional cases. I do want to make a note on our premium cookies, our Girl Scout S'mores and Toffee-tastics. Of course, we're excited to have these 8 cookies be part of our lineup this year. As most of you probably saw in the message that went out on the cookie recipe this past Sunday to all of our troops, or if you're also a service unit cookie manager and you get one of our lovely Friday or Saturday emails from our product sales managers, then you might have seen that we know that we're going to be a little bit limited in the s'mores and the Toffee-tastics that we have available, especially for our booth sale. So we definitely have cookies. You guys know, I've talked to you, you have your cookies that are coming in. I would just say to use sort of your best knowledge to see, how those are going to go out. So I would encourage you to, make sure troops know if they've got goal-getter orders to get those to you, and then maybe not send, if someone's asking you for 5 cases of s'mores for a booth sale, you definitely don't need to give all of those to them. So I would just ask you to use your best judgment based on your troops and what you usually have coming in for goal-getter sales before you start sending out a ton for booth sales. So that doesn't mean that you can't have anything available. It's just that once we, deplete our stock in all of our cupboards, they're premium cookies. So just like with the Coffee-tastics the last couple of years, once they are gone, and we can't get any more of them. However, we will have our Savannah Smiles trefoil, do-si-dos, Samoas, tagalongs, and thin mints for the duration of the sale. So we should be in pretty good shape with all of those. If you have questions about s'mores or Coffee-tastics, feel free to ask your product sales manager. We're happy to advise on all of that. I can tell you that lots and lots and lots of troops did pre-order a lot of cases of s'mores in Coffee-tastics, not to the greatest extent that Coffee-tastic, but a lot of Girl Scout s'mores cases were ordered on the initial order. So I think that a lot of troops will be set with those, especially for the first couple of weekends. But if you do have people looking for them, we definitely want to make sure that we're filling our goal-getter orders first, and then just being a little frugal as we're getting them out in our booth sales. If you have if you know that, like about half of your troops pre-ordered them, or you have other knowledge of that, definitely base your booth consignments on any of that information. What we have here is just a guide. There's also some good information on here just about, different types of cookies, just some reminders about consignment and taking back cookies as well. A lot of this information is inside of the cookie program guide too, but I know that sometimes a lot of new troop cookie managers or troop leaders have questions when they come to the cupboard about what they can and can't take out. So I would just ask that you guys be patient and help us to explain all of that to them so that we can make sure everybody is happy with what they're getting for both their goal-getters and their booths, and is happy with what they're able to return at the end of the program. The next part that I just want to point out are our instructions here. So if you are a cookie cupboard manager at the council level, you have one set of instructions. If you're a service unit cupboard manager, you have another set. But what's important here, we are going to go through again all of the transactions, but what's really important here is actually towards the end that I just want to point out to everybody. We, as most of you know, because most of you are volunteers on the troop level as well, that we are moving toward an electronic payment ACH process in our product sales program. So what this means is that troop volunteers no longer have to initiate a payment or go to the bank with a Webster Bank deposit ticket in order to pay the council. What will happen is that the council is going to initiate those payments and will debit the troops' accounts for the amount that's owed. It's really important for you guys as cupboard managers to be aware of those dates and what's happening, because all of these debits are going to be based on what's entered into EBuddy. So the very first date is going to be March 24th. That's when 60% of the amount due for each troop as of March 22nd is going to be debited from their account. So we made that March 22nd date very purposely. That's a Wednesday. So we need your help in making sure that all of those cookies that went out for the previous weekend's booth sale have come back in, and the EBuddy entries are done and accounted for by the end of the day on March 22nd. Because again, we're going to base our payment on exactly what is entered in EBuddy for that troop. We will be encouraging all of our troops to be checking their entries as well, just to make sure. I sometimes make a mistake when I'm entering an order, but I always go back and check, and definitely before the payment deadline. So please just be cognizant of that. At the end of the program, we will be making the final payment, the final debit for troops on April 11th. So not only are we asking you guys to be very prompt and very accurate in your EBuddy entries, but we are also going to be looking to get your cupboard paperwork and your cookies back a little bit earlier. That's the plan right now, than how we usually do. So for service units, we're going to ask that you make arrangements with your council cupboard to return your cookies and paperwork. I mean, if you can't get your cookies back there because you need a bigger vehicle or something, we understand. We'll try to help you out, but we definitely need your paperwork back by April 5th. This is so that if we have to go through anything or if a troop has a question about any type of transaction, that we're able to take a look at that and be able to make any adjustments and talk to you guys well before the money is actually debited on April 11th. The plan is to not have any errors, not be debiting accounts for cookies that are erroneously placed into a troop or anything like that. So for service units, we are asking the April 5th deadline, and for council, your guys' deadline, this is the service unit instructions up in front of you here, but for councils, we're asking council covers that you make arrangements with your product sales manager by April 7th to either return your cookies to a service center or to make arrangements with us to come pick them up. So again, that's cookies and paperwork. Most of you know that we piloted this electronic payment ACH for Election Day booth sales. Those obviously were all council-run cupboards, and we didn't have to pull cookies back quite as quickly because we already had all of them. But going in, this will be our first full cookie program where we are using this new payment method, and so we're just asking for your help and cooperation and making sure that this works. What's going to be key here too is going to be communication with your product sales manager. So if you do, get bogged down in your entries or you know that you're behind, if you could just reach out to us so that we know or we can assist you in any way to make sure that everything is all set, especially by those payment deadlines, we're happy to do it. So just definitely keep us in the know and keep your entries as up to date as possible. Speaking of your entries, also in your instructions here, we're talking a bit about restocking your cupboard. So I know that everybody has their cupboard order all set. If you're a council cupboard, you can actually see it in EBuddy already. Some of you who are a larger cupboard and receive delivery, I know some of you have already been contacted by one of the delivery agents. Sarah Kusa has already started to make their calls and schedule their deliveries, and Myers will be taking a look and starting to do that this week also. So if you do receive a cupboard delivery and you haven't gotten a call or an email just yet, just give them just a second. We just placed our final initial order for all of our cookies, all the cupboards, all the troops on Friday. So they just got all that information from us on Saturday, so they've definitely been working very quickly to get that for you. If you do have anything that you haven't let us know about a delivery location, so if you've got a really narrow driveway or your road is very steep or something like that, if you could just let us know, the more information that we can give the trucker, the better equipped they can be to actually deliver your cookies. For those of you who have a bit of a smaller cupboard, you guys are picking up your cookies on delivery day, either on March 4th or 5th, and they'll be with the rest of your service unit's order. If you are unsure of what that order looks like, or you don't remember what it was finalized with your product sales manager, feel free to reach out, and we're happy to confirm that with you as well. So everybody should know by the end of the week when and where they're getting their cookies, but if you don't, again, please just let us know. Another note on delivery is please just make sure that you do count your cookies. We will have tickets for you. So if you're getting a delivery directly from the truck, there will be a ticket for you to sign and for the trucker to sign as well. So please make sure that you are definitely counting all those cases of cookies. I know some of you manage very large cupboards, and so it's a lot of cookies to count, but we just ask that you really make sure that you're counting them, that you're instructing the delivery agent employees to, stack them. They know how they're supposed to do this. But, if you have certain places that you want certain cases, just please feel free to instruct them and have them stack them in a way that you can easily see and count them before you go ahead and sign that ticket. For those who are picking up at drive-through delivery, you'll have a bubble sheet just like you do when you go through for your troop. So you should also have a counter with you who will verify the amount of cases that are going into your car. So you'll be signing for those at the end of the line, just like you do for your troop cookies. I can tell you that we have most of our cupboards are getting delivery, so I know a lot of you will be signing those tickets, but if you have questions, again, about the amount that you're getting or questions about how the delivery is going to take place, please feel free to reach out. I haven't gotten flagged down by Ann on anything, so I'm hoping that everything is looking pretty clear at this point. So I'm going to actually go in to show you guys just a couple more things here. This you are going to see in your paperwork, and this is the service unit and council cupboard numbers that are in EBuddy. So as we're going to show you guys how to do this in just a second, but if you are a service unit cupboard, you are actually going to be pending in your restock order. So I know I just talked about all the cookies that you're getting off the truck or putting in your car at delivery, but for most of you, that's not going to be enough. So that's just what we want to start you out with for the first, week or two of the sale, and then you're probably going to need to restock. If you are a service unit cupboard, you will be restocking from one of these council cupboards here. We are almost so close done with the council cupboard list. If you are a volunteer council cupboard manager and you are on this webinar and you haven't given us your schedule or hours of operation yet, please email your product sales manager so we can get that published and out to our troops. We're hoping to do that this week. But the council cupboards are going to be restocking the service unit cupboards, and of course our council cupboards will be working with us to get restocks to their cupboard as well. But this will just be helpful for you guys to see where the restocks are, or if we need to transfer cookies between service units. You guys who have done this before know, especially towards the end of the sale, we start doing a lot of moving of a lot of cookies around to try to get them where they need to be. So we just want you to be aware of sort of when you see these numbers in EBuddy, what the heck we're talking about. And so they are either council cupboard numbers or service unit numbers, and we'll just be working on our inventory. A note on the inventory, we really just need to make sure that our inventory, that we have enough cookies, obviously, for all of our troops, but that we don't need to be surrounded by an abundance of cookies at all times. So we just want to make sure that we'll be checking in with you guys, obviously, on a weekly basis, like we always do. But we want to make sure, really, if you're ordering cookies, that you really need all of the cookies that you're putting the order in for. Like I said, at the end of the sale, sometimes things do tend to get a little tight. We don't like to have extra inventory here in Connecticut. That's not really financially the way that we want our sales to go. I mean, there's really no organization, no store, no business will tell you that they want to have a ton of unsold inventory, at the end of any type of program, and obviously we are right with them on there. So if we could just run our cupboard sort of a little closer to the line, that would be helpful. I know that you definitely want to make sure that you have enough cookies, but just know that your product sales manager will probably be having a conversation with you surrounding your restocks, and that your garage doesn't need to be full at all times. It's okay, especially towards the end if it's getting a little light. The other thing is, I know that sometimes with our service unit cupboards is, at the end of the program, sometimes, especially if you're a smaller service unit, you may not even have that many booths scheduled for your fob that very last weekend. So if you need to close earlier, or if you are just, oh my gosh, I've got this abundance of trefoils here. I don't know, they're not moving, but I really need thin mints. Let us know, and so that we can sort of maneuver those around a little bit. I'm going to just pick on Kimberly from Torrington, because I know she's on here right now, and she was bringing me raw raisins by the car full last year. So if you have something that's not moving out of your cupboard, just let me know. I know raw raisins is not a good example, because I don't know if they were moving out of anyone's cupboard last year. But if you've got a cookie that's not going anywhere, please let us know. It's not helpful at the end of the sale if you have way too much of something. We want to be able to move all that around and get it where it needs to be. If you have questions about your inventory or are unsure of what to order, definitely please reach out. We're happy to take a look. Hopefully your troops will be sending you in their orders not too last minute, so you'll be able to sort of plan accordingly for the week. Just one other note on that too is that it's really important. I know we talked earlier about taking those cookies out in consignment and having them returned. It really is important for your troops who take those cookies on consignment to return them after their weekend food sales. We don't really want, we don't want cookies just riding around at people's cars, just sitting in people's, damp basements or anything like that. So it's always best to have our cookies, we like to call them our cookies at home, just to sort of have them back into our cupboards and not, out and about with our troops. But also, it helps with our inventory management too. So, if you send cookies out and out for 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden everyone brings their cookies back, you're going to have a giant pile of cookies that, could have been sold elsewhere. So, the policy really is that cookies go out on consignment and then come back in on the, agreed upon date, which is generally, within, following that weekend's booth sales or I know, for example, my cupboard up in Torrington that I run is only open once a week, so the expectation is obviously I'm not there on Mondays, but that they would come back the next time that I'm open. It's really important, if you haven't already, to communicate with your troops the hours of operation that you're going to have your cupboard open, and also how you would like them to communicate with you. That will help them to schedule those return and pickup times, and it will help you to know when you have inventory going out and coming into your cupboard. You guys will also be receiving an adjustment form that looks like this. This is just to keep track of any damaged boxes or cases or anything that you have to deal with in your cupboard. You know, if somebody comes back and, you know, they've got a case of cookies off the truck on delivery day, let's say, and 2 of the boxes of Thin Mints were crushed, you know, you can note here that you took these boxes of Thin Mints back from Troop 45281, and that, you know, they were damaged on delivery, and this is what you did. If you have, we'll be entering all the damaged boxes or anything like that at the end of the sale for you, but if you could keep track on this form of anything that comes in or out that's damaged, that would be very helpful for us. The one other thing that you might encounter that you're going to want to put on this form too is if anybody is short on delivery day, they might be coming to your cupboard looking for a case. So those who have been at drive-through delivery before know that we, you know, count out all those cookies. Every car should have a counter. Everyone signs for their cookies. But sometimes people miscount and they find out they're either, you know, oops, they have 1 too many cases of Samoas, or ooh, it looks like I maybe was chatting during that trefoil time and missed the case that was supposed to go into the car. So you might be asked, usually people will call us here in the office, but, you know, you might get a call from your product sales manager that says, hey, this troop needs a case, they were short on delivery, and we would ask you to please give that case out of your inventory, and we would make that entry into your cupboard for you as well. I know that most of you guys are pretty good, especially those who've done this before, of, you know, looking at those cases when you accept them on delivery. If a case is in really, really bad shape, where, you know, none of those boxes are going to be, you know, able to go out for goal-getters or boots, you might not want to accept that. We just want to make sure that the inventory that we do have is in good shape, and that our, you know, our girls will be proud to offer it to their customers. If there's no questions on paperwork, I am going to hop into EBuddy and walk you guys through some of the different transactions. If you have already been in EBuddy this year, you're going to log in the way I am. If you have not been in just yet, we're working right now on updating our cupboard information in EBuddy, so we'll make sure that all of you guys have access. I'm actually going to take care of that right after we're off the webinar tonight. So if you haven't been in there just yet, you'll be entering in an email that you may have used last year, and then the temporary password for this year is doji at 6722. Let me just write that down for you guys so that you have it here. That is the temporary password to get into EBuddy. If you've already been into EBuddy earlier this year, then when you log in, you'll just use the same email and password that you've been logging in for your troop for the last couple of weeks, and you'll be able to see your cupboard information. Like I said, we're going to be updating that, all of that in the next little bit. So if you log in tonight and you don't see your cupboard stuff just yet, just give us 1 minute and we'll make sure that that is updated for you. So I'm going to log in here. You guys will recognize this as not my real email address, but I wanted to make sure that I was matching more what you guys would see than all of the crazy stuff that I can see on the council level. If this is your first time logging into EBuddy, before you get to this screen, there's going to be a screen where they're going to ask you to update your password so that it's not the generic. So you can make that anything that you would like that's unique to you, something that you think you'll be able to remember. I have to cheat and write it down, but just anything that you would like it to be to access EBuddy for this year. And they're going to also, there'll be some prompts for some security questions on there too that you'll just need to answer. The whole thing takes about 45 seconds, and then you'll be able to move on, and you will see this page. So I'm going to go through and show you guys transactions first on the service unit level, and then on the council level. So if you're a council person, if you want to just hang out for a couple minutes, and then we'll be back to you. But we're going to talk service units first. So when you log in, you'll be able to see this. If you are a service unit level person, you will see that you are actually now in here as either the service unit manager or the service unit cookie chair. So you'll be able to see all of the troops in your service unit. I know these troops look a little funny because we're in V Council, but you guys will have real-looking troops here, so you'll be able to see everything there. Your actual cupboard transactions are going to happen on the Transactions tab. This is where you'll be doing all of your work. Because we haven't gotten any cookies into the state yet, your initial delivery says 0 right now. Once we have cookies, we'll move those into your cupboard, so you'll be able to see, exactly how many cases or boxes, everything that you have in there. But just bear with me right now that it's 0 in there. As a service unit cupboard, there's a couple different things that you are going to do. You're going to give out cookies to fill goal-getter orders. You're going to pass out cookies on consignment for booth sales. You're going to take back those full unopened cases from booth sales, and you're going to place your order in to restock your cupboard with a council cupboard. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of those different things here. So let's just say that you as a cupboard manager have been contacted. Again, let your people know, do you prefer to be texted? Do you prefer to be emailed? Is there a separate email that you want to use just for your cupboard stuff? Just let them know whenever works best for you. So here we are. We're going to just click on, I'm sorry, skip that part here. Once we go to the Transactions tab, we're going to click Add a Transaction. This is all in the EBuddy instructions that you guys are getting in your packet. So if you don't have them in front of you right this very second, that's okay. They are on your way to you, and we'll send them to you electronically as well. This will open up a screen where we're going to do a brand new transaction. Every time we either give out cookies or take back cookies or ask for more cookies, it's a new transaction. So you'll see on the big transaction page lines and lines and lines of transactions as you go into the program. This first part here is just going to be graded in here. This is just the date that you're entering the transaction. I'm going to enter this as the service unit cupboard manager based on the information that the troop cookie manager has given me. So they're going to come pick up their cookies on March 9th. And the person who's picking this up is going to be the troop leader. So we'll just say that that's going to be N. Jones. There is, of course, that number in there that you just saw, but we delete that out, and we like to use the first initial and the last name of the person who's picking up those cookies. That's a good record to have here in EBuddy. When you start to collect those QB tickets, or I'm sorry, for service units, the money receipt booklet, you will see that there's lots of signatures that are a little difficult to read, and I'm definitely a offender. My signature, I maybe should have been a doctor, I'm not sure, because it's really not that great, but this will help you to remember exactly who picked up these cookies by marking it here in EBuddy. This is a goal-getter transaction, so it's marked as normal. You'll see that's the default here. And we are giving these cookies out to a troop. Now, you will know, you'll get the troop number from that volunteer. I know sometimes it's helpful to sort of ask for all the information up front, although most volunteers will give you that information when they make their reservation with you. So we're going to do this for troop 33333. Those who have been on these webinars before know we love to use that troop, so that's sort of what we do. Our product movement here, the default is remove product, and that's what we're doing. So this refers to the movement of cookies either out of your cupboard or into your cupboard. So we are removing product from the cupboard to give it to a troop. So remove product is correct here in the drop-down. And this is the goal-getter order that has been submitted to us. So this is, these are just extra orders that have come in, Sally wants to go deliver cookies, and 2 neighbors didn't know she was selling, and so she needs some. Go-getter orders can really vary in the numbers. Sometimes people will come in for just a couple of boxes. Sometimes it will be quite a few cases. So it's really going to depend. This is what I mean about trying to get the information from your troops early on, so that you can sort of plan for your inventory and for what your order needs to be for the following week. So I would recommend, like I said earlier, that you encourage troops to get their goal-getter orders into you promptly, not only because that will help you to sort of play with your inventory, but also because some of these people, really, if it's a goal-getter order, they might have ordered their cookies, back in the beginning of February, and if you're waiting for tag-alongs, it can seem like a really long time before you get them. So we just want to make sure that, our troops know they can get these orders filled, give them to the girls, and get them out to the customers. Once we are confident that we have entered in boxes here, in Girls Clubs of Connecticut, we always recommend that you enter in boxes. I know EBuddy calls it packages, but it's just very easy. Even if you have full cases like this, just it's just a little easier to enter everything in boxes so that you're talking sort of the same language for all of your different varieties. So these are the boxes. We confirmed, yes, those are the 28 that we want, and we're going to press OK. You can enter multiple transactions at a time. I personally like to, and I recommend that you save your transaction every time you enter it. So we're going to press Save here. So what we would do is we would have these cookies. We would have gotten an email or text from Nora Jones here, filled her order, filled out her money receipt, the money receipt booklet that you have. Of course, you're not going to be actually collecting any money for these cookies. These will just be, the actual physical boxes going out the door. So she's all set. You've got your receipt. You entered in your 28 boxes, and you press Save. So that is really the end of the transaction there for that. If you knew that Nora was coming, we knew that she was coming to pick them up, we entered this a little farther ahead of time. That was great. If Nora, when she came in, if she decided, oh, I forgot, I just got this order for 3 more boxes of Thin Mints, you can go ahead and do a separate transaction for that and just add it in there. If you have the inventory available and someone comes in and needs to add to their order, by all means fill it. If you don't have that inventory available right at that very second, they might need to wait just a minute until the other orders have been picked up, or if there's a council cupboard closer to you and they want to pick up there, they can go ahead and do that. I should mention here too that I know we're in the service unit cupboard here, and sometimes our service unit cupboards are super flexible, which is awesome, but sometimes our volunteers will work in a city. I mean, as you guys know, our service centers are located in most of our, some of our larger cities, or closer to some of our larger cities in Connecticut where lots of people work. So you might actually have, a troop leader or two who might want to pick up at a council cupboard, and that's okay too. The council cupboards are open so that anybody can pick up from any service unit there. So, you might have a troop who picks up some cookies from you on some occasions and some cookies from a council cupboard. That's all fine. We'll all make our entries and everything will be underneath that troop. So no worries on that. If we want to go ahead and let's say that we have, we're going to enter in our first booth sale transaction. So the same thing, our date here that we're actually entering the information is grayed out. They are picking this up. We'll say the 23rd. I know you guys know we don't have cookies right now, but that's okay. And let's see who's going to pick these up. We are going to go with Taylor Swift coming to our cupboard. That's exciting, I know. For our type here, we're going to go with booth because this is going to be for a booth sale, and these are going to be cases that are being taken by the troop on consignment. Of course, troop 33333 is a very robust cookie program here. So they are picking up, and again, because they are taking products from the cupboard, we are going to be selecting remove product here. Then we're going to go ahead and enter in the booth order for this troop. Ooh, that's a lot of trefoils. Sorry about that. Some Samoas, we need some tag-alongs, and we need some Thin Mints. So those are our cookies for our booths. Go ahead and press OK and save that. So again, we entered this by the boxes. This might be a booth order that the troop gave you, or you might just be referring to your consignment guidelines. Sometimes troops who are really familiar with the spot, this troop always sells at this store the second week of the booth sale from noon to 4, and they know exactly what it is that they need. That's fine as long as it's, again, like I said, as long as it's not like 7 cases of s'mores or something totally nuts that they would never sell, then you can go ahead and sort of fill what it is, that they're requesting. If somebody is a little unsure, you might want to refer to that booth consignment guideline. So let's say that Troop 33333 had a really great booth sale, but they've got 2 cases that they didn't open up, and so they would like to return them. So let's say they picked these up on Thursday, they had their booth on Saturday, now it's Monday, and they're coming back to return these cases of cookies. So we're going to go ahead and add a transaction. Oops, sorry about that, the door's a little loud. We're returning them on the Monday here, and again, Taylor is back at the cupboard making her return. We're going to mark this as a booth again because this is a booth sale transaction. They went out as a booth, and now the consignment is coming back in, and of course it is this troop. Now this is where we're actually taking products, taking boxes back into the cupboard. So we're going to go ahead and change this to add product. And you'll see when we complete the transaction that this will actually be listed in EBuddy in a positive number of these cases coming back in. So we didn't do so well on our do-to-dos, and we had already ordered a bunch of Thin Mints on our initial order, so we're returning a case of these two. So 2 cases coming back in, we're adding them, we're going to press OK. You'll see here now that the ones that went out were subtracted from your cupboard, they left your inventory, and now we're adding in these cases back. We're going to save that. What's important here, and I know because this cupboard didn't have cookies in it to start with, it looks a little bit funny down here, is that this very bottom line here is what EBuddy thinks is in your physical cupboard. So I like to check at the, if I've got my cupboard open for like a 4-hour stint, at the end of that 4 hours, I check my inventory. What does EBuddy think I have, which is down here, versus what is sitting in my conference room, or for you guys, what is sitting in your living room or your garage or your bonus room or wherever you have all those cookies. You're going to want to make sure that it matches up with what EBuddy thinks that you have. The best way to keep your cupboard balanced is to do it often. So like I said, if you can do it, after, your day of pickups or your time slots of pickups, and it's super helpful. If you do end up, you just can't figure out, like you've got these 2 boxes of Santa Smiles and you don't know, EBuddy says you have them, you don't have them, you went through all your tickets, you can't figure out where they are, that is okay. Just make a note, that you are off by those 2 boxes. It's kind of like balancing your checkbook. If you're off a little bit, you kind of carry that little bit of an error with you. I know my type A friends on this call would say their checkbook would never be off a couple pennies, but some of us, maybe we're off just a little bit. But just as long as if that's what the error is, and maybe it happened the very first week, as long as things don't kind of get, somersaults out of control, then, it really is okay. If you need help going through your tickets, or if you want anyone to review your entries, just let us know, and we're happy to take a look at them. The other thing is, too, is that, sometimes I make a mistake, and a troop will call me, and, especially that first week, gosh, I forget to press that add product button to change it from remove to add, and sometimes a troop will just call you and they'll notice it more quickly, because they went home and packed their car, looked at EBuddy, and realized that the entry was done incorrectly. So sometimes troops will let you know if there is an error. We will take a look in your cupboards when we're looking at your restock orders, or if we see anything that looks a little funny, we'll let you know, and usually we can catch those types of errors pretty quickly. Again, though, just to emphasize, we will really need to make sure these cupboards are in balance, so that we can make sure that the payments that we're initiating are correct. So again, that March 22nd deadline is really, really important to keep in mind, as well as having everything balanced and set at the end of the cookie program. Don't know, I haven't seen anything from Ann as far as questions here on service unit entries. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys how to do the last one here. So we've done our go-getter order here, our booth consignment out there, and then the booth cases coming back in. And now I'm going to show you how to go ahead and pend your order to restock your service unit cupboard. So like all other great things, we're going to start by pressing the Add a Transaction button. And you're going to determine when you're going to pick up these cookies. On the council cupboard list, it's going to tell you when these cupboards are open for operation. And so just like the troops, that's when you guys are going to be able to come and pick up those cases of cookies that you need. So take a look at that list. You will be responsible for sort of working with the cupboard manager, depending on if they want to be emailed or texted or however they want to be contacted, to figure out when you're going to pick up those cookies. But at least tell them that, the date that you're going to come and get those. So we're going to come and get these on Friday, let's just say, so that we have them for, our booth sales for the coming weekend. We're going to go ahead in here, and I'm actually going to take a quick peek at the instructions just to make sure. I do this as a council cupboard all the time, but not so much as a booth sale. As a service unit cupboard. So we're going to go ahead, and in here we're going to do our receipt as the word restock. I was right, I didn't need to look. And then our last name. So if this is my cupboard and I am restocking, it would say restock Mangles. That way we would know. Our type is going to be normal, so you'll see that here, which is going to leave that. And then the second party, our choice is going to be a cupboard, because we are actually going to a council cupboard to get these items. I know it's a little bit confusing because you guys as service units, you are a cupboard, but in EBuddy you're classified as a service unit. In EBuddy only really sees the council cupboards as cupboards when it comes to this transaction tab, so that's the only reason why it might be a little bit wacky. But you're going to select cupboard, and then you're going to go ahead and select the cupboard that you want to pick up from. So let's say that we're going to come and we're going to pick up our cookies from the Torrington cupboard. Okay, so you are looking to add product to your cupboard. So you're going to go ahead and leave it here. I know the default actually when you guys do this is actually on this it will just be add here. For the other ones that we just did, it usually is remove, but this one will go ahead. If you see remove there, just make sure you change it to add here in EBuddy. Then you're going to go ahead and enter in the boxes that you need to restock your cupboard. If it's like a really big order and you want to put it in cases, you can, but this will just be helpful so that the council cupboard will know, okay, I needed to make sure that I have enough inventory to fill this service unit's cupboard when they need to come pick up next week. We would ask that you guys put in these cupboard restock orders on Sunday so that the service units will know, the council cupboards will know how much they need to restock for you. So these should be, put in by late afternoon on Sunday. If you know that you've got someone who's returning late, if you want to just reach out to that council cupboard to reach out to your product sales manager and say, I won't have the order really until more like 9, that's fine. But we are asking that you, as service unit cupboards, try to get those cookies back in and get your restock orders in by later on in the day on Sunday. So if I need to restock and I need a couple of different things, I'm going to take a look at what I have physically in my inventory already. Then I'm going to take a look at the go-getter orders and the boost sale orders that I know have to go out for the following week, and I'm going to want to fill all of those orders. So, sometimes, again, you might have some cookies that are not moving quite as much, so you might need less of those cookies, or, perhaps we just ordered too many of them for you to start and they haven't really moved quite as much. It really is going to just depend on sort of what the volume is for your cupboard and the number of orders that you have coming in and out. Like I said, we will connect with all of you guys on Monday, usually for our service unit cupboard, sometimes on Tuesday morning before we go ahead and place that order. But please try to really abide by those deadlines. We do have some cookies in the warehouse, but most of you guys know these cookies are baked down in Kentucky and they need some time to come up here into Connecticut, into the warehouse. Sort of the life cycle of the cookie is from the bakery onto the truck to the warehouse, off of the truck, in there, onto their trucks, and then out to the cupboard. So you can see how that's not really a 12-hour operation. So the earlier we can get your orders in and finalized, the earlier we can place our order, and the earlier in the week we can get those cookies from the bakery and get them out to you. So as a service unit cupboard manager, we want to make sure that we are confident in this order that we are putting in, because as soon as we put it in and save it, you're not going to be able to change it because it's going to be pendant to the council cupboard. If you need to make a change, you can contact the council cupboard. They're very friendly, the managers. They won't bite or anything, but just know that you won't be able to make a change in EBuddy on this particular order. So our order is set. We're going to press OK, and we're going to press Save. So you will see here that this is grayed out. We can no longer, well, I can because I have council cupboard access, but you guys as a service unit wouldn't be able to make a change to this order once it's gray in the system like this. And you'll see this little pending yes here. This just means that you haven't picked up the order yet. Once you go ahead and pick up that order, your council cupboard manager, so let's say you're going to pick it up on the 24th here, the council cupboard manager will unpend this, so you'll just see it, all these boxes, cases in your regular inventory. Again, if you need any guidance or anything like that with placing your restock order, we are definitely happy to help. So just let us know. But really, the point is we want to make sure we've got those orders in, and we've got the cookies going to the right places, and that we're able to fill all the orders that are coming in from our girls and their troops. With that, I'm going to actually move over to the council cupboard side of things, which the actual entries won't look too much different, but I do want to talk to our cupboard managers, council cupboard managers, about restocking. So I'm going to flip over here to the Torrington cookie cupboard. So we would see this is the one council cupboard that I have access to, so it's just listed here. For those of you guys who are troop leaders too, and you were in here as troop, things will look a little bit different if we just, as we add you in, but I mean, you'll still have access to everything that you saw previously as, the troop cookie manager for your troop. It's just that you'll be able to see some additional things here in EBuddy. So this is the dashboard for the council cupboard. Right now there are 2 pending orders in here, so you'll be able to see any of your orders that have come in from service units right here on your dashboard before you even go into your transactions tab. I should note too, and I apologize I didn't say this earlier on the service unit, if your contact information is incorrect in any of this, please let us know. We want to make sure that we have this up to date. We'll do most of our communication directly from the product sales manager out to the covers, but if we want to send anything through EBuddy, we want to make sure that everything in here is correct. Especially if you're looking right now and your address is incorrect, that's the address that's on your delivery ticket for your cookies. So please let us know if anything has changed so that we can go ahead and make those changes on our tickets and on our sheets for future reference too. So we're going to go ahead. The other tab that we're going to use here is, of course, our transactions tab. Just like a service unit cupboard, this is where we are going to record all of our transactions. Lots of celebs here in Torrington. We're very excited. So you will see, again, this would be our transaction here for a goal-getter order. This is a small order, but we have put in the pickup time, the first initial and the last name of who's coming to pick this up, the troop, that this is normal, so we use for goal-getters, and again that we are removing this product from the cupboard. We've put in our 11 boxes, hit OK. You'll see that you can go in here and edit this. So if you go back to Katy Perry's email here and you realize, oh, she didn't want 5 Samoas, she's a tag-along girl here, and she wants 5 tag-alongs instead, you can just go ahead and change that under your transaction. Our service unit cover managers can go ahead and do that as well. So if we do make a change, we can go ahead and save that. This is, again, this would be our transaction for our booth sale cookies. And, ooh, I did this one wrong. This is supposed to say booth here. And then the cases that went out on consignment, again, we removed our product. And then the cases that came back here, our case of Samoas and the case of Thin Mints were brought back on consignment. Again, that should be booth. Sorry about that, guys. You will see here the restock orders that were put in. So this is the one that we had just put in a couple minutes ago. And you will see that this is from the service unit, the council. Obviously, that's a little funny. So if you're a council cover manager, you'll see, service unit Cheshire or service unit Green Pines or whatever the service unit name is that you will actually be who you'll be working with. The other thing is, too, that whoever put this in there, this restock order in there, you're going to see their contact information down at the bottom here. So I put in this order. This is my email address, so you can feel free, if that person hasn't emailed or called or texted you yet, you can feel free to reach out as the cupboard manager and go ahead and set up the time to get these cookies, have that person pick up those cookies. Once you have decided, again, as the council cupboard manager, that you've got all of your pending orders in here, you've got what you need to fill goal getters and booth sale orders for the week, you can go ahead and order your cookies if you need to. Our council cupboards are starting with a lot of inventory, so hopefully the first week you guys will have more than enough cookies to get you through everything. But when you do need to go ahead and make your entry to restock, you will do that on the transactions tab. So we're going to go through that now. So we're going to start with add a transaction. Start date, and we are going to choose in our type here, we're going to choose reorder. That's going to move a lot of these fields just right out of the way. Okay, so just for council covers, the service units don't have a reorder option here because things just work a little bit differently for how we move our inventory around. So you're going to go ahead and click reorder, and then on the receipt, you're going to go ahead and enter in, again, restock, the word restock, and your last name. All right, and then you can go ahead and enter in your items here. So, whatever cases it is that you need. I'm just going to do a couple of these. It's a small, maybe a smallish one here. and you'll work with your product sales manager. So if you need another truck delivery, we can get that out to you. If maybe you don't need a full truck, we can sort of try to move inventory around from different covers to get you covered with that. Now, again, you are going to be adding cookies, so you're going to do Add Product here, and then you are going to go ahead and click OK. So you will see now that this is listed as, let's save this, that you'll say that this is listed as a reorder, and you'll be able, and we will be able to see this on the council level as well. We ask that as council coverage that you put in your restock into EBuddy, or at least email your product sales manager what you need by 9 o'clock on Monday evening. We'd like to try to order the cookies first thing on Tuesday morning, again, just because it does take some time, and we want to make sure if people are really, really in need of cookies, for that weekend's booth, that we want to do everything possible that we can to make sure that we have those for you guys. So you'll see those there. Again, it might be a conversation that's going to happen between you and your product sales manager. I see you placed this restock order. If we think that you've got a lot of inventory, or we think that maybe you are a little low on something, we might recommend a change to the restock order. But really, we just want to make sure that we're working together to make sure we have the right inventory where it needs to be and when. So that's really the goal on all of that. You will be, I'm sorry, I don't have pictures of those QB receipts. As council covered managers, you'll be using the larger QB receipts. Both the QB receipts and the smaller receipt booklets that the service unit coverage use have multiple copies to them. So for the service units, you're going to keep the white copy, and the troop volunteer who's picking up the cookies is going to keep the yellow one. Again, it's really important either for the QB or the box receipt that all the boxes are listed or cases are listed, and also that you sign it as the covered manager and that the troop volunteer signs it that they are picking up their order of cookies. The QB tickets, you are going to give either the service unit covered manager who's coming to pick up cookies, or the troop covered manager who's coming to pick up cookies. They're going to go ahead and pick up those and take the goldenrod copy, which is the very last copy of your QB ticket there for themselves. I am going to holler to Ann here and see if we have, I don't see any other questions here, but if you have anything. Somebody cannot hear me. Can other people still hear me? Okay, so I'm not sure, Vicki, what happened there, because I'm not on a cell phone. I haven't moved, so I'm sorry if you missed part of that. Oh, Vicki's back. Okay, we're back in business here. I will tell you guys that this whole webinar has been recorded, so if you need to come back at any time and listen to any part of it, or watch those transactions being entered again, that might be helpful to you. I am looking. I don't see anything that Ann has not answered here. I am going to leave this up for just a couple of minutes, so if you are frantically typing, or if you think of a question, you can go ahead and put it in the question box now. If you think of something later or tomorrow, you can feel free to email your product sales manager, or send us a general email at productsales@gsfct.org. But for now, I just want to thank everybody again, not only for being on the webinar tonight, but for also being one of our covered managers and really, really helping the cookie program to move along in your service units and at the council level too. We know that there will be lots and lots of cookies that will be coming off the trucks on March 4th and 5th, but it's nowhere near enough cookies for our troops to make it all the way through that first weekend in April. So thank you for moving all of those, for making those EBuddy entries, and for really making this program work. Like I said, I'm going to leave the question part open here, but I am going to get off of the line. So I thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great evening, a fabulous cookie season, and please reach out if you need us. Thanks so much.